Okay, the math problem in the Chapter 4 homework was to look at Section 9.8 of the pre-calculus text and learn how to use Cramer's rule. Now, Cramer's rule is just a simple way to solve a set of equations without having to go through all the algebraic manipulation. We basically do all the algebraic manipulation through Cramer's rule and come up with a solution. And then first thing you have to do is you have to get them into a form like this, where you've got one variable x and the other variable y, and so you've got ax by equals c, right? And if you had another variable z, ax by c equal d, you can solve this for any number, use Cramer's rule for any number of equations. You just increase the size of the matrix we're dealing with. And this symbol here is simply the determinant, which is c1 times b2 minus b1 times c2. All right, so let's take a look at our set of equations, and the first thing we have to do. First, I gave you W as 100 newtons, but if you look at the set of equations, we really want to rearrange the second one a little bit, because we want the two equations. I'm just going to copy the first one. We want the two equations to have the same order, right? And so we're going to write this second one as minus t1 cosine 30 degrees plus t2 cosine of 45 degrees equals 0. All right. So now we have our equations written, and if we're going to look at these in terms of Cramer's rule, A1 is what? A1 is sine of 30 degrees. All right, and B1 is sine of 45 degrees. And then C1 is 100 newtons. All right. A2 is minus cosine 30 degrees. B2 is cosine 45 degrees. And C2 is simply 0. C2 is 0. So these are our all of our variables. And let's go to Excel. I've already stuck A1, B1, C1, and A2, B2, C2. So now we know A1 is the sine radians of 30 degrees. And we know that B1 is the sine of radians of 45 degrees. Yes, I want you to do that. Okay. And we know that C1 is 100 newtons. Okay. We know that A2 is minus the cosine radians of 30 degrees. And we know that B2 is the cosine of radians of 45 degrees. And we know that C2 is 0. All right. So in determining T1, which is our first variable, we want the determinant defined by C1 over C1, C2, B1, and B2. Right? Let's go back to our Cramer's rule. Determine the first variable. We want this determinant divided by the overall determinant. Well, the overall determinant, D, right, is A1 times B2 minus B1 times A2. All right, that's the denominator. So now D1 is C1 times B2 minus C2 times B1. All right, and D2 is, now we're using the C's in place of the B's, right? Look over here, All right, the C's take the place of the B's. So now the determinant here is A1 times C2 minus A2 times C1. All right, now if we want to know what T1 is, right, T1 is just D1 divided by D. And if we want to know what T2 is, T2 is just D2 divided by D. 73.2, 89.7. All right. So T1 is 73.2 newtons. And T2 is 89.7. 89.7 newtons. And that is the answer to this problem. Let's see. I will type up what I did in Excel and stick this in, and that way you'll have it in the solution set. All right, that's it for this problem.